Hey y'all, happy Tuesday. So let's dig in, let's return back to defining what an anchor is, defining that anchor. And, and it's we have this anchor, this hope, as a sure and steadfast anchor for our soul. Our soul. Now, we said yesterday that anchor is a stay or safeguard, that it is a support, that it is reliable. It is the principal support. I loved that. And this ties back into talking about our foundations and having to choose a side and having to be sold out to one side or the other. No neutrality. In that, this is the principal support. The principal is the main, the focus, the strong. It is our principal support. The last definition we looked at was something that serves to hold an object firmly. Something that serves to hold an object firmly. And of course, I'm reading from the Amplified Version, this verse, and the way it breaks down sure and steadfast is that this anchor cannot slip and it cannot break down under whoever steps out upon it. That means not that, and this is something we'll read later from the Psalm 1 book, but it is impossible for this anchor to slip, to move, to shift, and it would be impossible for whatever you are going through, whatever you are dealing with, whatever the weight is that you carry. It's not heavy enough, it's not strong enough to break down that anchor. That anchor will hold, it will stand whatever you put on it. Whatever, and this is what it says: break down under whoever steps out upon it. There is not a person that has too much baggage or too much filth or too much sin that would crush this anchor. That will hold, it will hold us firmly in place. It will be a support to our souls. Oh, this is good. So I'm going to read now from this part of day 16 under Take It Deeper. The scripture from Hebrew, it equates God's words, his promises, which we know that Jesus is also the Word made manifest, to an anchor. It holds us safely in place. It cannot break down under whoever steps out upon it. It cannot. Now this is a beautiful. Not that it will not break down, but that it cannot break down. We'll look into that tomorrow. It would be impossible for this anchor, the rock that we build our house upon, to fail under the weight that we place on it. Now, when you think about an anchor when it is actually placed in the water. So an anchor is put down to keep a vessel in place. It is designed in such a way that as the wind blows and the waves crash, remember that from last week, we talked about the wind and the floods. When the wind blows and the waves crash, the rope or chain allow the vessel to move about safely in the storm, yet stay in the same location. Think about that anchor. While there may be a storm with hurricane force winds beating down upon the vessel at the surface, down on the floor where their anchor is set, it is calm. So you think about that. Down below the surface of the water, where the anchor is set on the floor of the water, it is calm. That is the anchor of our God. Peace is not derived from what is going on around us or in our circumstances. It comes from the core of ourselves being anchored deep. When our anchor is God, we are set and fully equipped to weather life. That, as Jesus was talking about the builders, that the storm came and the floods rose and the winds blew, it was just a storm. It was life. It was living. It was existing. But the builder, the house, whose foundation was on the rock, weathered it, came out perfect. And that is the promise for you and I, that He is our anchor, taking us into the very presence of God, into His throne room, where we can find good help, well-timed help coming just when we need it. Go back and read that Hebrews 4:16. That will be the end encouragement for you today. We will pick up here tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye, y'all.